Hello, this is Adam Bernard with AutoPerspectives, and it is time again for a news roundup. Things are a little light this week. We're here in the middle of a nice warm Michigan fall, and we will start with a look at something coming from Nissan. Now, this requires a little backstory. About 3 years ago, Nissan announced plans for new midsize sedans for both Nissan and Infiniti that would be pure electric. They would be built in the US and they would launch this year. As you might guess, that didn't happen. Those sedans were delayed and eventually canceled because, of course, America is kind of falling out of love with sedans. And they were replaced by two new midsize EV crossovers, which were due in 2028. And those were announced earlier this year. Those are now canceled in light of the current EV demand or lack of demand, perceived demand here in the US market. And Nissan announced this week that instead of building those vehicles, they will bring back one of their better known and better appreciated nameplates, Xterra. This new Xterra would show up in 2028. It would be powered by a V6 hybrid, and it would use the current Nissan Frontier's body-on-frame platform, or an updated version of that, since we're still 3 years away and the current Frontier platform has been around for quite a while. Now, a couple of things to think about here. They said V6 hybrid. They didn't provide any more details than that. It could be a conventional parallel hybrid like most automakers offer. Infiniti had that on the Q50 sedan from 2013 to 2018. Another more intriguing possibility is to do a series hybrid. Nissan has a number of series hybrids in production now, branded as e-Power. Those are all transverse front drive vehicles, so they're not longitudinal rear drive. So there will be some additional engineering required if they decide to go down that road. But if they do that, they could also add a plug to that series hybrid and turn it into an extended range electric vehicle, which is kind of a hot topic these days. Ram's 1500 REV, formerly known as the Ram Charger, will feature an EREV powertrain. And so that might be an appropriate electrified powertrain for a large, blocky SUV. Why bring the Xterra back? Well, if you haven't noticed, people seem to be really interested in off-roading, either really off-roading, like having a vehicle that's totally capable of going off-road and doing it, or having a vehicle that looks like once in a blue moon, you might be able to take it off-road if you feel like it. But it just has kind of a butch, outdoorsy looking appearance. And we've seen sub-brands like Rock Creek and Wilderness from companies that don't build body-on-frame vehicles in those segments and applying those to come up with these more off-road friendly crossovers. The other interesting thing they talked about is that this vehicle could generate an Infiniti variant as well. Infiniti had the QX4 ages and ages ago based on the Pathfinder. An Infiniti variant of this vehicle could take on the Land Rover Defender, which is eventually supposed to get an EV variant. And it also could take on rumored entries from both Audi and BMW. Of course, the big question is that off-roading is hot today, or even fake off-roading is hot today. Will it still be hot in 3 years? Probably. We do expect the Wrangler and the Bronco to stick around, so they will no doubt be generating some demand. So this is obviously an artist's impression of the Xterra. We don't even have a teaser photo yet, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a concept show up in a couple of years to let folks know that this nameplate is coming back. And in the same vein of going off-road, another nameplate is coming back from Toyota. The FJ Cruiser. We have seen rumors of the FJ Cruiser or some sort of smaller Land Cruiser type vehicle coming back for a number of years. Here in the US, the old giant Land Cruiser, which is the 300, is no longer available here, and we get instead what is known in other markets as the Land Cruiser 250, which is a midsize vehicle. This reboot of the FJ Cruiser would be a compact entry, so it would slot below the US market Land Cruiser / Land Cruiser 250. Some information coming out of the Japanese media suggests that this is being targeted for a launch in the spring of next year, and we might even see an actual production version at the Japan Mobility Show later this month. That's the event formerly known as the Tokyo Auto Show. It'll be about 171 inches long. We've actually seen some patent drawings that give a clue as to what the vehicle looks like. So here's an artist's impression. It was posted on motor1.com. There seems to be some disagreement about what might be underneath. Everyone seems to agree it will be a body-on-frame, longitudinal rear drive, and all-wheel drive vehicle. They could use the IMV0 body-on-frame platform. This is the platform that Toyota uses for their non-North American midsize trucks, vehicles like the Toyota Hilux that are sold in emerging markets. That is a little less refined and also a lot more low cost than what Toyota otherwise has on the shelf. The other option is TNGA-F. That is the body and frame architecture that is versatile enough to be used under Sequoia and Land Cruiser and Tundra and Tacoma and 4Runner. That is a little higher cost. It also could be built here in North America, so that would help them bring it to the US. This seems like a vehicle that would do well in the US if they brought it here, but we'll have to wait until we see the final product to determine whether or not that happens. Under the hood, the Japanese media talk about a 2.7 liter 4-cylinder currently offered in the Hilux. I would have to assume, given Toyota's commitment to hybrids, that there would be some sort of hybrid powertrain available for this as well. And we'll switch gears to the Buick Electra. Here in the US, if you are a Buick aficionado, the Electra is a name dripping with heritage. Full-size flagship sedan for the brand back in the 60s and into the 70s. The name has been resurrected in China as a sub-brand focusing on new energy vehicles. Instead, that is both EVs and hybrids and EREVs. And here, the Electra is being relaunched as a flagship sedan for the brand, and it is an extended-range electric vehicle. This marks General Motors' return to this technology, which they got rid of when they discontinued the Chevy Volt several years ago. This was previewed as a concept in Shanghai. The production version has now been revealed with specs. Starting price is an extremely affordable $23,000. We all know that the Chinese are capable of turning out some pretty impressive vehicles at some very low cost, and this is no exception. It does share some design elements with the newer US market Buicks, including the availability of a top-range Avenir trim. Underneath is Buick's Xiaoyao architecture. That architecture is said to be fully compatible with electric, plug-in hybrid, and range-extended electric powertrains in front drive, rear drive, and all-wheel drive capability. So credit for building that much flexibility into that kind of architecture, because you don't build it in to begin with. It takes a lot to change that halfway in. The Electra EREV shown here, the L7, is a 1.5 liter turbo range extender paired with a 338 horsepower motor and a 40 kilowatt hour lithium iron phosphate battery. 0 to 60 in just a little under 6 seconds, which is pretty good. And the equivalent EPA range on pure electric power would be about 140 miles. So much better than you would get out of any kind of plug-in hybrid. And that is in the Chinese cycle, it's even higher. So that's 140 miles is converted to an EPA range. So again, the nice thing about an EREV versus a plug-in hybrid is that EREVs operate as EVs all the time. The engine is never connected to the wheels, only runs as a generator in the background. And so you don't worry too much about range anxiety. The Electra EREV will feature a V2L capability, so you can plug things into it. And there will be a full electric variant to follow as well. That will have a 900-volt electrical system. Keep in mind that here in the US, the only Cadillac EV with an 800-volt system is the Escalade IQ. At the moment, all the other Cadillac EVs have a 400-volt setup, which means they don't charge nearly as fast. Inside, the interior of the new Electra is nice. It would maybe what you might call Chinese generic, very smooth, very uncluttered. One big touchscreen in the center, and then a smaller display in front of the driver. It's a 15.6-inch touchscreen. You can get an optional 50-inch augmented reality head-up display as well. This is the Avenir interior, so top of the line. That's a purple and white interior trim. It's 27-speaker audio and Napa leather upholstery. Under the skin, among other things, includes the Momenta automated driving system. So that does offer some level of hands-free, although they didn't get into the specific SAE levels. It includes LiDAR, which is pretty impressive for a $23,000 vehicle, millimeter wave radars, and multiple high-definition cameras. The functionality of the system includes urban and highway navigation assistance, automated parking, and remote parking features. Sadly, like every other new Electra that will be rolled out over the next couple of years, none of these vehicles are expected to be exported, so we definitely will not see them here in the U.S. market. And finally, we have not seen the official Porsche Cayenne Electric revealed. There has been a prototype camoed that a number of media outlets have driven already, but we did get some more details this past week. We don't have a specific reveal date yet, but we do know that the flagship, which will likely be badged either Turbo or Turbo S, will offer over 1,000 horsepower, and all Cayenne Electrics will be all-wheel drive. So this will definitely be positioned above the internal combustion Cayenne, which not only continues to carry over, but will get an eventual replacement near the end of the decade. Interestingly, from a powertrain standpoint, Porsche developed new motors for the Macan Electric. The front motor will carry over to the Cayenne Electric, but the rear motor is actually new as well. It's a permanently excited synchronous motor, which was chosen for its higher power density, which makes sense if you're looking to get 1,000 horsepower out of this. And it features a new oil cooling system, which helps survive high performance driving. It also has a completely new battery pack versus the Macan. Actually doesn't even have a pack per se. It has cells and modules that are integrated into a kind of subframe. So by removing the pack, you remove some complexity, some cost, and some mass. It is an 800-volt electrical system like the Macan Electric, but now they are claiming 400 kilowatts as the maximum charging rate, which makes it competitive to what we've seen from the BMW New Class. And they are claiming a 10 to 80% charge in 16 minutes. That is faster than you get with either a Taycan or a Macan Electric. But the big news that you see here, of course, visually is the interior. Lots and lots and lots of screens. They claim 50% more screen area than the current Cayenne. And you'll note in the middle, what looks like two displays is actually a single bended central flow display, as they call it. So not a curve per se, but there's a bend in the middle. And there's also a new available augmented reality head-up display with haptic buttons, not physical switches, unfortunately, for volume and climate control. And there's also new high-mounted air vents to allow kind of a more continuous flow of the screens from left to right. Among the other features they talked about, a new in-car gaming capability, obviously not while you're driving, interior mood modes, which control light, climate, sound, and seat functions, heated armrests and door panels to keep you toasty warm in winter months, and an electrochromic sliding glass sunroof. In this being Porsche, you'll get a lot of opportunity to customize and personalize. Porsche notes that the Cayenne Electric will feature 13 interior color combinations, as well as 4 interior packages and 5 accent packages. So there is a lot going on here. Clearly a lot of cost going into the vehicle, a lot of investment as well. Keep in mind that Porsche has now decided that they will no longer target an 80% EV sales number for their portfolio, and they will be continuing both electric and internal combustion for the next several years. The next electric vehicle that we'll see from Porsche beyond the Cayenne is the 718 Boxster and Cayman. That will likely be sometime next year. But between now and the end of the year, we should see what the final details on the Cayenne Electric look like. And that about wraps things up for this week's News Roundup. If you like what you've seen here, please subscribe and share, and visit AutoPerspectives.net to check us out on the blog. And we'll see you back here in a week or so. Bye-bye.